Hello?
You're still trying to get us to go live.
Okay.
Honey, if not a redhead, how about a blonde?
I'm going to go to the Big D. I don't need Dallas.
Okay. What about a brunette?
You mean Donna?
No,
She's
I
talking
don't
about
need
Donna.
What about
Okay,
a
we are
brunette?
live.
Whoa, we're live. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm glad I wasn't speaking my mind. We would have gotten in trouble. No, I'm just kidding, everybody. Welcome to Two Blind Mice. It's Monday, April 24th, 2023, right?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Today's probably going to be a very short show, but before we get into it, I want to share a little bit of something that happened yesterday. And it's kind of ironic because this sort of involves Justin. Now, Justin, a few days ago, I was concerned about him. I sent him a message asking if he was okay because I had heard about the tornadoes in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He was perfectly fine. The irony about his comment was he was complaining about the same weather we get down here. Usually. There's only one problem. We haven't had that weather all season long.
Yeah.
Normally up here, like Justin said in his comment, high humidity, that's us. We average maybe 60 to 80% humidity starting around this time of year all through summer, and it hasn't been happening. We've maybe peaked out at about 55 to 60% humidity, but here's the strange thing about it is we've been under 80 degrees most of the time. Yes, we've gone up into the mid-80s, but I think only one day in the last week or so have we peaked at the high to mid-90s, and one day we actually went above 100.
Okay. I got you beat. 53 degrees this morning in Austin, Texas.
And she's leading us right to what I'm about to say. This morning here it was 64. That's unheard of this time of year.
I know.
Okay, this is what happened. Yesterday we were told that we're going to have a slight chance of thunderstorms, and like usual, our weather guy didn't nail it.
Underestimated it?
Yeah, pretty much. And as it turns out, on the way home from church yesterday morning, we're driving home in the middle of a big rainstorm. Now, I'm not driving, just in case anybody's guessing. No. My mother-in-law was driving, and we're driving along. We're about 2 or 3 miles before we get to the house. She goes, "Oh, look, that thing is sparking." It didn't take me long to realize that a power line had been snapped off the post, and it was arcing. And I wish I could have seen it. So as we were driving home, we got closer. It started getting even worse and worse. So I get home. I get completely soaked, running into the house. She drove home. I hope she made it well because I haven't heard anything from her. So I'm assuming she's home. Anyway, so as it turns out, I found out listening to the weather report this afternoon, we were at pretty much the center of the entire fun that happened in our area yesterday with this line of storms that came through. We almost had a near tornado.
Welcome to Real Hondo.
Sarah, nobody wants to go there.
We always get that, all the bad weather.
What have I told you about where we live, honey? Nobody comes here unless they have to.
Not even the weather.
There you go. Thank you. And as it turns out, several friends of mine said they got hailed on. I haven't checked the car, so I don't know if it got hailed on. We did get quite a bit of rain. And the irony of it is, this is not our weather.
Nope.
It is not our weather, and it's really something strange going on. I'm loving it. Here, during the cool months, we stay with the front and back door open because they face each other and they create a great crosswind. Cools off the entire house. I did that today. This is late April. It doesn't happen here.
You know why it's happening? Because I'm not there.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, two things there, Philip. Number one, I actually do plan on making a trip there to visit y'all at some point, hopefully this summer. But when I come, I'm going to fix all of your weather forecasting problems. All right.
Yeah.
As a Chickasaw Indian, I'm going to bring some culture in. I'm going to install an Indian weather rock. It is never wrong. When the rock is wet, it's raining. When the rock is cold, it's cold outside. When the rock's hot, it's hot outside. When the rock is gone, you need to find a hole because a tornado's coming. So, no worries. Better than any weatherman, promise.
That's a good one. That was, yep.
You have no idea what's running through my mind right now.
Hey, Phil, you invited them all.
I know.
You invited them on the show.
Yeah. I'm speechless, man. I'm speechless. I was about to say, hey, we got an extra room. Man,
Continue.
I forgot. He threw my whole train of thought off.
I know.
Holy cow. What was I going to say next?
You were griping about the weather.
We gonna do the review, or are we gonna do what?
No, something else. Something. Oh, you know what? Yeah, real quick. I had a really cool experience this past week. Mary doesn't care because she's not into this.
No, I don't care.
See? Say it again.
I don't care.
See? So I ain't lying. Anyway, okay, where we live at, SpaceX has one of their sites about 15 to 20 miles away from here. And if you might have heard that they launched a test rocket this past, I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
It was Monday, right? Okay, it was real. It blew up. It was intended to blow up. Leave the guy alone. And this is what the neat thing was about it. I was about to get on my phone and watch the news report live. Well, listen to the news report live. And as I log in, I hear them say they're counting down, 6, 5, 4. Wait a minute. I said, what? And, there's always a delay. As they were getting to the number 2, I hear this little rumbling sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, oh, crap, I know what that is. So I turned off my phone, and all I'm hearing is the rocket just taking off. Obviously, I can't see it. And the strange thing about it is that I'm laying in bed, still in my bedroom with the windows closed, and I can clearly hear that rocket launch. Now, not being able to see, we can't enjoy some of these things that happen, they're history making. But let me tell you, it was a fantastic feeling just to hear it.
You complain about living in Rojondo.
The rocket didn't come here, dear, so it lived up to the motto. Nobody comes here unless they have to.
It blew up. It couldn't get there.
It didn't want to. It killed itself before it decided to come this way. My only regret about the whole thing is that I'm going to go. Let's see. What's a good excuse? Okay. I had a senior moment and never bothered to step out my back door to listen to it.
I know, Doe.
Well, they're going to do it again in a few months. So I get that other chance, but I think it's so neat. But this time I'm kind of like really wanting to go actually hear the launch up close.
You do not need to do that. You're only like 30 miles away.
You're in Austin.
Not me, you, Dodo.
No, I know that. I'm saying you're in Austin. I don't need your permission.
Why don't you say what the legislature of Texas is
Actually, I'm gonna say that for last. Let's go ahead and get the hard part of the show out of the way because I know it's gonna be a real trip. And let's start doing Justin's review of Tombstone. See, I told you, Justin.
Okay.
Best
Yep.
Western movie.
Well,
Okay,
so I mean, first of all, we got to start off without some visual cues. I mean, we could be talking about a modern day TV show. We've got drugs, we've got prostitution, we've got gambling, we've got alcoholism, we got murder, we got gangs. But it's not y'all's old beat. It's Tombstone. So I will have to say,
people.
I'm taking a page out of your book, Philip. I missed a lot, apparently, whenever I could even see watching this movie, because the narrator picked up cues and descriptions throughout this that made the storyline a little bit more driven and also kind of added to the imagery and symbolism of a lot of the characters in there. So I really, really appreciated the gentleman that done the narration of this track. I think he done a fantastic job.
That was what's his name? He's passed away now. What's his name? He's the guy looks like a old bloodhound.
What?
Oh, no. I'm not talking about the narrator that starts out. You're talking about Robert.
Oh, you're talking about the audio description.
Yes.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah.
You Dodo.
Hey.
Yeah, no, Robert Mitchum is the name you're looking for.
There we go.
Yes, Bloodhound. That works.
He does. Always did.
Yeah, he did.
Well.
Okay.
Go on. Everybody lost their train of thought here. Man.
You're just paying me back for the weather rock.
No, Phil.
There actually was a bloodhound in this movie.
Yes, there was. So, I mean, Robert Mitchum made a cameo. Oh, so fun fact: Robert Mitchum, which is the narrator, he was actually cast to be to play Masterson, but he got hurt by falling off of his horse before they actually got to start filming the movie. So that is how we get him as the narrator, opening us up to the movie of Tombstone.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's right.
Yep, there's your little bit of bonus fact to
Well,
begin
let me say something before we go any further regarding the bloodhound. As Mary, she knows. I mean, she can do it word for word. So, honey, can you do the bloodhound?
Somebody get that damn dog out of here!
Uh huh. Welcome to welcome to my world, people. Continuing on, please.
So, our opening scene partially sets the stage for what is the whole movie. I mean, it inserts the bad guys right off of the bat. And I'm kind of jumping forward in my review. I did not realize this until later on in the movie. And thanks to me being in college taking British literature, we're actually covering John Milton's Paradise Lost, which, if nobody's heard of that or read it, it's Bible fan fiction by John Milton. It's where he kind of got a story of what happened that the Bible leaves out of the fall of Satan to the temptation of Eve in the garden. And
Yeah,
you've read it, okay? Yeah. So like, I did not ever even imagine it until I started breaking down that final scene between Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, where they was discussing Johnny Ringo before the showdown. And I made the reference of, Ringo's just that type of person that wants to watch the world burn. And that started off a whole chain of events and like information smashed together. And I was doing a little Irish river dance in my living room. And this is a Western retelling of Paradise Lost, and it's beautiful. So got my nerd thing out of the way. But so our opening scene, it sets up the cowboy gang. And I mean, it's a gang like straight out of the crap that we see in our streets today. I mean, it looks prettier, it sounds prettier, it makes for good silver screen, but I mean, this is just a despicable group of people. And I think the director done a wonderful job with this opening scene, because there is no saving grace to anybody that is in this opening scene in the gang as a whole. I mean, they not only go through and disrupt the institution of marriage, they go against the church by killing a priest. I mean, like, it is just all out. Like, you want these people, you want an asteroid to come and just end this movie to begin with.
Yeah.
And Johnny Ringo, I hate to say I like a bad guy, but I like him as a character. He is a very unique and dynamic character, because he's what we would see on the day of a serial killer being raised by a good Christian family that wasn't beaten, that wasn't molested. I mean, like, just absolutely had a good life, no excuses, knew better, knew right from wrong, but chose to live a life of sin, hell, and chaos. And he displays that intelligence and even the biblical knowledge, where the guy that is supposed to be translating what the priest is saying, he says your Spanish is worse than your English. And Ringo interprets what he says and then starts quoting the book of Revelations, which, like, doing an evaluation, this is a movie, like, I got chills. Like, I was like, oh, they are good. They are good because they set up the movie for like one of the iconic lines that is to come later. I know Mary knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure Philip does too, as much as yours is quoted. And I'm going to save it until that comes up. But like, it is a beautiful setup using this passage of Revelations for what is to come.
Well, let me chime in for just a second.
Go
Correct
ahead.
me
Go
if
ahead.
I'm wrong. Johnny Ringo was played by Michael Biehn, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, and that's the amazing thing about Michael Biehn as an actor. If you recall, he came out in Aliens. I think he did a great job in that movie. But he also was Kyle Reese
Yep.
in Terminator. And the thing about it is that struck me about his character, Johnny Ringo in Tombstone, is the look in his eyes. He looked like nothing like his character in Aliens. He looked like nothing like Kyle Reese. And the look in his eyes in Tombstone always just, you couldn't help but look at them because they were piercing, evil eyes that were shooting out of him. And it was just amazing to see his character be who he is. I think, in my opinion, he did the second best character of the whole movie, but I'll get into the best character of the whole movie in my opinion. So go ahead and continue.
Well, I mean, like, come on, you got to give it to him, though. I mean, he's got to be that dynamic of an actor. I mean, he's time traveled, for goodness sake. I mean, that many years, like, he's got it down. He's seen some stuff.
Mostly Sarah Connor.
Exactly, but hey, I mean, also seeing Arnold bare bottoms got to do something to a man too. So
I wouldn't know that. Well, anyway, never mind.
Why not? His mate saw it. Oops.
So
Arnold Schwarzenegger's maid. He had a love child with her. Never mind.
Anyway. Okay, the train just really went off the rails.
It's derailed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally. All right, go on.
Okay. So then, like, they again do a really good job of the next scene of introducing us to Wyatt Earp and his brothers. And for like, which I don't know how an American that's been in this country more than a handful of years, especially in the South, doesn't know the name Wyatt Earp. But they do a really good job of introducing that he is a lawman that is in demand. But it also does a really good job of Kurt Russell immediately coming up saying, not interested. Like, we have a clear, this is a man that wants to get along with his life. He wants to just settle down. And it also shows a really good measure of his, I don't know, moral fiber, his character, whatever you want to call it, by the way the man is beating on his horse after he's unloading it from the train. And Kurt Russell, I think, is like one of the only way that could deliver the stiff upper lip other than Clint Eastwood of just smacking somebody with the reins of from a horse and being like, doesn't feel good, does it? So we see that Wyatt Earp doesn't just have compassion for his man, but I mean, he has compassion for his fellow animal, which in this scene, you could almost argue that he's got more compassion for an animal than he does a person, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
But this scene is also really unique too, because it sets it up of what we face in our daily lives. And what I mean by that is there's a call to action by good men and women every day. I mean, there's no Marvel superheroes, there's no Batman signal. The things that stop evil from happening is good people standing up for it. And like, this is a nod to our boys in blue, and we have two fine examples of that on our show. Like, it's you guys, it's our firefighters, it's the boys in blue and the one sporting the BDUs. I mean, it's men and women that put their life on the line to serve and protect the innocent people. And that's the one thing that's really unique. And like, I'm kind of like putting our gentleman on the spot here. Like, does that ever stop with y'all? I mean, I know y'all are both retired, but I mean, does that nature ever stop with you, Philip, Albert?
It's never stopped with me, and I've been off the job 18 years now. The only thing that keeps me from doing anything is my vision loss.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise, I'd still be wearing a gun.
But I argue with you, sir. You're still doing good. You're standing up in the gap for the blind community. It's something that you can do. You've got boots on the ground, and you
Yep.
and your beautiful wife and your brother is going through and making things happen, and you're still standing in the gap because there are people out there that does not know there's life after blindness, and
Yep.
you're wanting to share that. So like right there, yeah, you ain't using a gun, not one that shoots bullets, but you're throwing digital bullets out there.
True.
Yep, that's right.
True.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it sets us up beautifully of that dynamic because we have not just one, but three of these type of men coming through, and it really kind of plays on the dynamics of life. Is a lot of people want to say that there's shades of gray, but I mean, when you get down to it, it's black or white. It's just how much you're willing to let something pass by before you're willing to do something. But at the end of the day, you're either on the side of light or you're on the side of darkness.
Yeah.
And they do a beautiful job of setting the rest of the stage for this movie by slowly introducing that darkness into these men's life to the point where they go, okay, let's get the flamethrower out. So
Yep.
like, I just love the way that they do it. Mary, like, you're as animated as I am, so please, I want some comments from you too, ma'am.
Actually, let me jump ahead of that real quick.
Okay.
Honey,
What?
do your favorite Kurt Russell line.
Which one is that?
Hell.
Oh, I'm coming and hell's coming with me.
Don't worry,
A little bit more gusto, honey.
No, that was at the end of the movie. That one's not.
Yeah, but we're doing the Kurt Russell. We're gonna do Val Kilmer whenever, I guess.
Oh,
next
wait,
time.
hang on, Phil. We're gonna
You
get
tell him I'm
there.
coming and hell's coming. I did it better than you did.
We're gonna get there.
I gotta clean my room. Sorry.
I'll give you another chance, Mary, because I've got that as a bullet point on the way, so don't worry.
I can do the dog again. I'm just kidding. Continue.
So, and this is another one of those little bonus sidetracks here. As I was watching this movie, like, all kinds of things from my study into Shakespeare was just gnawing at the back of my head.
Yep.
And we even eventually see a reading of Henry VIII in there.
Yep.
But it's set up, because Val Kilmer, he goes into the saloon, which they end up getting their steak, and I love it because Billy Bob Thornton makes a cameo.
Yeah.
Like, he's sitting there, and I love it. He goes, "You gonna skin that smoke wagon, or are you just gonna stand there and bleed?" Like, love it, just absolutely love it.
Yep.
And it's, again, just such a great scene, and then that also sets us up for Doc Holliday coming into him. But like, we're gonna pause on that before we get to it, because like, Doc Holliday deserves his own little introduction too, because my personal opinion, the greatest character of the movie. Like,
I think that's Val Kilmer's greatest role.
Absolutely.
It is. I think that was his best role ever. He did a fantastic job of it, and I always get impressed. I love what they did in Top Gun with his character, since Val Kilmer is not able to speak.
Top Gun,
Yeah.
Second part,
yeah. And I think, but this character is just fantastic.
I cried when Val Kilmer came out in Maverick. I couldn't believe they let him come out. I was so happy. But that's a different story. Okay.
Yeah, that's a different story, but it was a great portrayal for a person with a disability. No, but I love it. And one of the, going back to the fun facts is, everybody seems to think that when he says, I'm your Huckleberry, he's saying Huckleberry with a Y, and he's not.
Yeah.
He's saying Huckleberry. And Huckleberry used to be the old name for it, pallbearer. Huckle being
You're
the
getting
handle.
too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah. Well, see, I love it, Philip, because you're hitting the bonus facts that I got in here too. So we're doing this justice review.
Why, Johnny, I forgot you were standing there. You may know.
See, this is what I listen to. Every
Hold
time
on
I
a
watch the
second,
movie,
Justin.
the
I
thing
think we
about
lost
it is
Philip.
She does it so well.
Give me just a second.
Keep going.
There he is.
Yeah, well, that and I love it because he thank you. After he leaves the shotgun,
Yeah, leave the shotgun. Yeah.
like I thank people for a lot of things, but
And then
not
he
laying
goes,
my shotgun on the ground and walking away from it.
He is just fantastic. He is.
He is.
What's the other part, honey? Now I really hate him.
Now I really hate him. Educated man. Now I really hate him. Yep. He reminds of me.
So y'all appreciate this. Whenever we get to that part of the movie, I actually have the Latin translations. So
do you? Okay,
yes. So, but like I said, I had a lot of tugging for Shakespearean influences, and like I knew that the story was familiar. I just couldn't place it. But fun fact, according to Plato and Shakespeare, Tombstone is a comedy. So, according to Shakespeare and Plato, theatrical production, a comedy has a character that is just, well, somewhat goofy or misplaced, however the situation comes up. Excuse me. Their character kind of plateaus, they fall, and then they rise. Excuse me, 1 second. And then there's always a scene in the woods, which woods represents dang, woods represents magic. Like some type of magical thing. And like I said, there's a love interest, which this scene has all of them, but it also has elements of a tragedy as well, which I'll break that down a little bit further later. But it was just one of those things that me as a literary nerd found it fascinating that even a Western has Shakespearean influence. Let's see. Okay, so in that was it. So like you got the dynamic between Curly Bill, which he plays a really good fill-in for the fool, and that's something that is a must for a comedic a comedy to happen. Like a really good illustration of that is like Happy Gilmore. I mean, like Happy Gilmore starts off as a loser, and then like Shooter McGavin's at the top, and that they switch roles, and there's no redeeming Shooter McGavin. So the dynamic between Kurt Russell and the guy that plays Curly Bill, like it fits all of the hallmarks for a Shakespearean and Plato comedy, which I found really interesting because you never think Shakespeare in, guns.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hang on a second. Oh yeah, and so technically it could don't quote me on this one for the literary element, but it could be technically considered a historical thing, loosely based on it.
Okay.
Which and that's where the elements of Henry VIII plays in there too, because like I said, it's just like little subtle nods to the literary tropes that they're using without us even realize they're doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Curly Bill, Powers Booth did a fantastic job of making him really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
He was an annoying character, arrogant, but yet he was smart and dumb at the same time. And I was like, oh, he drove me nuts, I have to admit.
Curly Bill or Ike?
Curly Bill.
Okay.
No, Ike drove you nuts.
Was it Ike? Who? Okay, who?
Yeah.
Powers Booth. He was Ike?
Law dogs don't go around here. Law don't go around here, law dogs. That's Ike.
Curly Bill is the leader.
He's the gang leader. Curly Bill's the gang leader.
Yeah, that's
He's
what
the
I'm
one
talking
that goes, you smell that? It smells like somebody died.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Okay, I won't be doing any more movie reviews.
Okay.
Hold on, Justin. We lost Philip again.
No, you didn't. I'm still here.
Yeah, cause I can hear him coming through, Albert.
Okay, here he comes.
I'm here. I think Albert lost me, but nobody
Yeah,
else.
'cause I got no video on him right now.
I'm
Oh,
okay.
gotcha.
I'm still here.
There he
I'm
is.
still here. Yeah, as pretty as ever. What?
No, keep going.
Okay, let's go back to no video.
To what?
But
To what?
Oh,
and-
with Doc Holliday
He's as pretty as ever. I said, let's turn off the video.
What?
I won't try to get offended, Albert.
We gotta finish the movie review in less than
Yeah.
an hour.
So are we good to go again now?
Yeah, let's get ready to start closing down. We don't want to go too long on the review, so let's go
Okay.
ahead and- we're-
So
Introduced into it now.
yeah. So just want to go through. Mary, give us a spiel about Doc Holliday.
What do you mean a spill?
Well, like let's hear y'all's analysis of Doc. Like I think we can all agree Doc is the star of the show.
Yeah, he is. I love Doc. He's so brutally honest. He's a smart man. He loves Wyatt like a brother. Would do anything for him.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character, of course.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, it reminds me of that short scene where it says, "Why Wyatt? How dare you?"
Yep.
When Wyatt was pretty much going to shut him out of what he was going to do, and he didn't think Doc Holliday was going to get involved.
Yep.
And Doc Holliday was going to have none of that. His friendship, they were BFFs until they died, as far as he was concerned.
Well, until Doc died, yeah.
Yeah. So he was a fantastic character. That
and
really.
And he was a dentist in real life, Doc Holliday.
Yes. Well, and
Hey, Phil.
bonus.
Yeah.
But
Albert.
Yes.
Hey, Phil. You want to know what my favorite scene was of the whole movie?
Yeah.
That scene where Doc Holliday shows off his ability to show off his spinning of a cup.
Oh, with the cup. Yeah.
Oh. So
Yeah.
that's something I was gonna do as a the bonus. So
Yeah.
Michael Bean, like he practiced that twirling thing like relentlessly between movie takes and all that. But I watched an interview, I don't know, some months back with Michael Bean, and he was Doc or Val Kilmer, he went around with that cup doing the exact same thing. He was practicing spinning that cup around on his finger. He wanted to get it perfect. He wanted to match Michael Bean's gunplay with his cup play. Like I found that just so amusing, but it shows the dedication that Doc Holliday or Val Kilmer had to Doc Holliday.
Yep.
And then
it was so good.
Additional fun fact, he based his accent on that Southern aristocracy, which Doc Holliday was I think it was the great nephew or something like that, kin to the lady that wrote Gone with the Wind.
Oh,
So yeah, so there's just some.
Mitchell.
Yes, Margaret Mitchell, that's the name.
Don't say it, dear. Don't say it.
Frankly, I don't give a damn.
Oh crap!
I wasn't talking about that, but I'm glad you didn't say it either way.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Moving on. Thank you, Justin. I really do appreciate it.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna give us our translation right quick. The interchange between them, and then we can move on.
Okay.
Of course, I gotta have technical difficulties.
In the casino bar, and Ringo is talking to Doc Holliday, and they're talking back and forth, trying to outsmart each other, see who's smarter than the other, and it's in Latin.
Right.
And he's gonna give the translation.
Yes.
Whenever you're ready. Just
yeah. I accidentally closed out my paper. All right, I got it up here now. All right, so in the interchange, we got Doc Holliday saying, "Oh no, sorry, Johnny Ringo." Yeah, sorry, my bad. Okay, Doc Holliday, whenever he says his first line in Latin, he says, "In wine there's truth." Johnny Ringo says, "Do what you do." And then Doc Holliday, that long line that he says after that is basically he's saying a phrase that the Romans used back in the day to insult followers of Christ, believing that divine, like God had his hand in every action throughout our life.
Oh, okay.
And then Johnny Ringo replies, "Youth is the teacher of fools." Doc Holliday says, "Rest in peace." So there's that, and then go into the I'm your Huckleberry. So again, like, gotta slightly argue with you. I've actually pulled up the script, and it does say in the script, "I am your Huckleberry." But you are right that term Huckleberry was what they called a pallbearer. Yep. So, like, there's a little bit of argument in there. Like, they think that Huckleberry is a double entendre, which we see that at that final scene with Johnny Ringo, because the first time he says, "I'm your Huckleberry," like, that's him saying, I'll be the one taking you to your grave. And then whenever he meets him, he's saying, not only am I going to take you to your grave, but I'm going to put you in your grave, which is just theatrical brilliance. Because, like, he uses a double entendre. And like that final scene, like, leading up to the pinnacle of that. I mean, we have Wyatt Earp facing down Curly Bill, and I love Doc Holliday. Like, he's like, "Where's he at?" And he's like, "Oh, he's down there walking on water." Like, but then we had that final interchange of Wyatt Earp asking him. Wyatt Earp's asking Doc, "Why is Johnny Ringo this way?" And he said he wants revenge. For what? For being born. And that's what sparked that, "Oh my Lord, this is Paradise Lost." Because, like, Johnny Ringo just wants to spread misery throughout everything that he does. And then that ushers us in to the fulfillment of the priest giving a prophetic thing. He says, a pale rider's going to come and death's going to come with it. And then Johnny Ringo quotes the passage in scripture, "The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, they kill Bat Masterson, and now there's 4. We have Texas Jack, we have the Creek, Doc Holliday, and then Wyatt Earp, and they are going through and they are killing them all, like every single one of them, which I think
every red sash I see.
Yeah, I still think they should have put a bullet in Ike. Like that.
I did too. I wouldn't let that coward gone.
Right. I mean, like, he's proof that all cuss words don't start with 4 letters. Like, I would rather call it some 4-letter things than Ike. But anyways, so, like, it sets the movie up to where, like, if Doc Holliday is our main character, this is a tragedy. Because everybody dies, and they pull from the trope of Hamlet, to where Doc's best friend, which is Wyatt, is to live on and tell the tale and live a happy ever after life, which is straight from the pages of Hamlet. But then if you look at it to where Wyatt Earp is our main character. Now we have it as a comedy, which is again playing to the brilliance of the screenwriters of Tombstone. They have retold a classic of Paradise Lost. They've done a Shakespearean comedy and a Shakespearean tragedy, and then like really loosely in the terms of a historical play. And then we do get Wyatt's Happy Ever After. And I mean, like, there's this movie is just so beautifully done. It is very much worth quoting from beginning to end. I am with you, Mary. I support
Yep.
you. You are just pushing literacy. That's all you're doing. You're trying to bring back the classics.
Yeah. And there was also a love story in there too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's something that I skipped over because that scene between Josephine and Wyatt, it again has so much beauty, and I think that adds to the dynamic of the film. Is because I mean, think back to middle school and high school. You see a cutie and like you're too bashful to say anything. You make eyes at each other and you're praying to God that you'll be able to run across where it's not awkward. And then like when you do run across each other, it's awkward. And then like but she shows that she's able to read him better than he is. She's like, it don't suit you. And he's like, well, it suits me just
That's
fine.
right.
That's my idea of heaven. But then whenever it gets down to it, he figures out that she did see him all along, which I mean, speaking for us guys, I'll tell you, I'll wear my heart on my sleeve. Best words of a country song ever written. It was uttered by Travis Tritt. My baby knows me better than I do. That is what every
Yeah.
man desires. And
I love
we,
when
we
she
see
sees him,
that
she goes,
in there.
I want one. I want one. I love that part. When
All
she
right.
Wyatt
Yes.
Earp the first time.
You already got one.
I want one. She's a woman too, but she was a strong woman, which was weird back then. She knew what she wanted, and she went after it, and she got it.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up the review. I want to suggest that the next review that we do, for those of you who don't know, we get our movies on audiovault.net. It's AUDIOVAULT.net. All of those movies have no video. They're just audio MP3s that have audio description. You can watch movies or TV shows, whichever one you want to download. That's where we got Tombstone's audio description. The one I'm going to suggest that, and we're going to take a little bit of a trip away from the older movies, is we're going to do A Man Called Otto. It is available on Audio Vault already, which was very surprising for me to find out. If you have not seen A Man Called Otto, I'm being told it is a great movie. I am looking forward to watching it. I'm looking forward to seeing Justin review it, and let's see how we can do it on that one. So we'll do that again in the next show, which, when is the next show? I didn't even check the dates. Oh my gosh.
I'm not even going to be there.
I've only seen the movie 4 times.
Yeah, so it really,
Oh, great.
it's not that good. I think our next show is, I'll try to double check on this, but I think our next show is going to be May the 12th, 11th, 10th, 8th.
Yeah, I won't be there. Okay.
No, you won't be there. All right, well, you'll be there. But anyway, so let's go ahead and look forward to watching A Man Called Otto. I hear it's a good movie, so let's go on to that. Now, before I close, I do want to apologize to some of you who were expecting a review of the available technology for the blind. Some technical issues prevented us from doing that on this show. However, let me just review them real quickly as to what each are called. That way you can do your own research. If I forget any of them, guys, make sure you jump in and let me know. The ones that I'm familiar with are Be My Eyes. That is run by volunteers. They help you look for things in case you drop something or you want to set some controls on your appliance and so forth.
Completely free. Completely free.
It's totally free. Actually, all of these that I'm going to talk about, they're all free.
Don't give them any confidential information like debit cards or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're volunteers. They're not bonded. They're not insured. So don't give them any personal information.
All right. Then you got CNAI. That one allows you to read short texts, full documents. You can even scan the barcode for a product. You can get additional information if there's available, like cooking instructions, preparation instructions. Lazarillo. That one is
navigation.
Hang on, Philip.
Yeah.
So also on Seeing AI, it does a currency reader, so it'll tell you what your dollar bills are. It'll
Yep.
tell you lighting conditions. It can do. You can take pictures of like your family and scan it
Yep.
in, and so that whenever you take pictures, it'll recognize people's faces and tell you who it is. Which you want some laughs. Take pictures of people and have
Oh,
it
the age
analyze
thing,
what
right?
they are. Yes. Like
I
my
know.
son was absolutely upset when it said he was a 8-year-old girl. I thought it was funny, but he didn't.
It told me I was 43. I liked it.
Albert said,
Made me
for
younger.
Albert said he was 75. I don't know why.
Oh, I'm gonna do that to you.
Anyway,
when I get
okay,
home.
we're getting off track here. It's getting late, so let's get on. All right, so we got CNA, and yes, we'll go into more detail as we are able to access those apps later on. Like I said,
Ira? No, there's Ira too.
well, that one you're gonna do because you're familiar with it. Again, Lazarillo, that's a navigation app. It got step-by-step directions. Let's see here. Of course, I've mentioned Navilens more than once. Check a previous video that we did with.
We lost Philip again.
Yeah.
What was that?
Justin, can you hear him?
Yeah, I hear him.
So
Yeah, because I don't got no audio. I got no video or audio on him.
that's strange. Okay, so there's a lot more apps that we got to go to. We're going to review them. Hopefully, we can get our technical issues taken care of by the next show, so we can do that because we do want to go into detail because these are quite helpful apps. So we're going to go into.
Ira's good. Ira's a paid service, but it is free in certain like Walgreens and certain places, certain airports. Here at Crisco, it's completely free for me. It's you dial in and there's a person on the other end, and you can't give confidential information to them because they're bonded and they're licensed and they cannot take our personal information. And they will do a lot for you.
And Mary said she was at Crisco. That's the Crisco Rehabilitation Center up in Austin, School for the Blind. That's where she's at. That's where she ain't here. She's probably going to be
Which
here
is
for
another resource, yes.
Yeah. And so we'll go into detail on that. And let me just close off by getting my soapbox a little bit for the next minute or two. Something I discovered today that's going through the Texas legislature. If I remember the bill title, it's House Bill 5206, I believe. And that's a great, I think that's, I'm going to keep track of this one. I'm going to keep updating. I think it's a great bill that they've introduced. And the biggest reason that it really irks me, and I'm glad they did this, is the amount of people who are abusing the service animal issue. It's causing discrimination to be done against persons who actually do use guide dogs. They're being denied access because the business owners or airlines don't believe that they're actually blind, which is kind of ridiculous to assume. And of course, if you go to some of the merchants or even online, you'll hear them selling or see them selling fake service animal vests for dogs. This bill is going to be designed to do away with that. In other words, it's not a perfect bill. It's not going to be a perfect bill. But my hope is that in the end, it does benefit those who use guide dogs here in Texas, where the airlines cannot prohibit them entry or travel. Same thing with businesses. They cannot be questioned. My recommendation that I've made to my local representative was in order for a person to qualify for a service animal, they should take a similar process as to when they apply for a handicap placard or license plates on their car. They'll need a medical professional to authorize it. And
it should be included on their driver's license.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And to include an endorsement on the back of their ID cards or driver's license to show that theirs is an official service animal. Let's face it, I'm hearing complaints left and right from many, many people that they are being denied access because the businesses don't want to allow them entry because they don't believe that their dog is a guide dog. And
people are abusing it with other kinds of.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, Albert put it best. You got a bunch of people who want to claim, special treatment for something that they don't need to be treated special for.
Look, if I want to take my squirrel into this restaurant because it gives me some kind of mental support,
They can do it.
I take my squirrel in there.
They can do it.
Yep.
But in my opinion, they should have it authorized by a medical professional, and there should be an endorsement on the back of the driver's license. That's the way
I
I see
agree.
it.
There
I'm gonna keep
has to
following this
be
bill.
there has to be some accountability for what kind of animal they're going to allow. Because if somebody wants to tell me, hey, I have a possum and he's my emotional support animal and he needs to walk in the HEB with me while I buy groceries, not. That's not a clean animal. I don't want him anywhere near my food.
Well, now,
What-
if you are not from Texas, I encourage you to contact your local state representative and tell them that you want a similar bill introduced. I think it's a long time that it gets enforced because let's face it, guys, yes, we have the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's 30 years in the making, and we are still being discriminated because of revision laws through the use of service animals.
Yep.
To be frank, the ADA is as good as the paper it's written on. It carries no bite unless you are actually suffer damages from being discriminated. And even though a person is going to be suffering damages from this discrimination is not much, and many lawyers are not going to jump on board, and the Department of Justice is not going to prioritize this. What this is I'm saying is being done here in Texas should be done on the federal level, but don't expect it anytime soon. So we need to do it on the state level, and I hope everybody just jumps on the bandwagon. A representative reach out to me.
Because I've been at stores, I've seen guys walking in with 300-pound Rottweilers, and they obviously don't have a problem seeing where they're going because they're dragging the dog with them, but the dog is not trained to be walked on the leash inside that kind of environment.
It's just something that's been abused, and it's causing discrimination.
The people at the store is like, I'd much rather take the chance that he is a service animal than to be questioned and have to worry about the lawsuit because I denied him a privilege.
Yep.
And I remember on Facebook, they had a thing for a while there, a phone number and a web page you could go to where you could get your animal certified as emotional support.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No,
You can't walk from your car into Stripes to pay for the gasoline before you need emotional support. You shouldn't have left the house. I'm sorry. You've got to be able to walk away from the animal for 5 minutes.
Chris Cole.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Forgot about you, honey. I'm sorry.
Update.
Okay. Mary isn't here because she's up in Austin. So Mary's going to do an update as to how she's been doing up at Chris Cole. Go.
Update. This is the 4th week. I walked to Starbucks today. I crossed I don't know how many intersections of traffic. Too many, in my opinion. It's scary. I baked first time in 8 years today. Baked cookies. I know, shocker. That was fun.
And she made peanut butter cookies. Ugh.
Well, I could have made any kind of.
She was thinking about me when she made those cookies.
Hey, Mary. Mary, what I want to know is, do you miss us?
In wood, I'm making a planter out of wood for my plants, which I'm starting the wood cutting tomorrow. So, Mary is moving along. Mary's getting out. Mary can move down the street.
Let me go on the
bus tomorrow.
Let me go on the record real quick for Mary. I love my Mary. She's my Mary. And she doesn't give herself the credit she deserves. I think she is doing quite fantastic. Her confidence is better than ever it has been before. So as much as she likes to beat herself up, I can't let her. I love her too much to let herself to do that to herself. But I think she's doing great. I think she
did my first HEB order by myself.
Yep.
Did my first medication order by myself.
Yep.
Blood pump, everything.
Yep. I used to do all that for her. I used to do all that for her. So I think she's doing a fantastic job. Her confidence is a lot better than it was before. So I am not.
That's the update.
Yep. And there we go. All right. So, guys, see you in 2 Mondays. Oh, wait a minute. Before I forget. All right. Last week, we had a unscheduled show with Oren McAllister with Navulence. And during that broadcast, we had a translator translating for us from English to Spanish. And I realized after we got done with the show, here where we live in, we have a high Spanish-speaking population. And I'm sure there's some others who are watching this who also have or know someone who speaks Spanish. So I got to thinking about it. Now, if you're familiar with the show, you're familiar with Macarena. She's a regular guest of the show whenever she can make it. And we got to talking over it this weekend, and we have decided to start Two Blind Mice en Español. Okay? For those of you who don't know what en Español means, it means in Spanish. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do our regular 2-week shows, but in between those shows, we're going to be doing a Spanish version of the show. Now, I am, in that case, going to be the co-host. Macarena is going to be the host. And the main reason for it is her Spanish is better than mine, but I do expect my Spanish to improve a little bit more without stepping on my tongue as much as I do now as we go along, because I'll be speaking Spanish as well.
And I'm not included in that one, so I'm out.
No.
Of that one. I'm only in the other one.
Don't let her fool you. She knows more Spanish than she lets on. I know, because I've been caught saying
Yo
something.
no hablo español, por
See?
favor.
See? So, all right, Albert, send us home. Push those buttons, flip those switches. It's time to let everybody go to bed. And everybody, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get all our glitches taken care of. So you all have a good night. Thank you very much. God bless every one of you.
Bye-bye.
Good night, que pasa y muy buenas noches.
Are we off?
No?
Hey, Justin. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think Albert could hear me. I was about to ask you to ask him.
So are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Yes, we
Okay.
are.